हम आपकी कंपनी में क्यों पैसा डालें? आपकी तो शादी भी नहीं हुई है. As a woman, I've faced so many gender biases. Everyone would turn to my husband and say, congratulations, yeah, मैंने सुना आप लोग ने invest किया है. And they would just look through me. There is a rejection that you face at that point because this happened. So you understand the reality of it. अरे आपको तो बेबी के साथ रहना चाहिए, अभी बेबी इतनी छोटी है, how are you out and about? I would read one bad comment and my whole body would go stiff. I've turned to professional help to deal with trolling on social media. News में article आ जाएगी. Then I'll get cancelled. Then I'll lose my job. I could lose my career overnight. And I'm connecting that to one comment that comes. Money is very important to me. I think I have stuttered to even say this statement for years in my life. And Aishwarya Rai is the very icon of Cannes Film Festival. I'm grateful to have a platform like Pink Villa, like Behind the Success, BTS, and be able to talk about my journey.
हेलो एवरीवन, मैं हूं गायत्री निर्मल और आज की हमारी जो गेस्ट हैं उन्होंने अपनी मासूम कलाकारी से सबका दिल जीत रखा है. प्लीज वेलकम मासूम मीनावाला टू पिंक विलास बिहाइंड द सक्सेस पॉडकास्ट. वेलकम टू पिंक विला मासूम.
Thank you.
So how have you been?
Good. Just recovering, just coming back to work.
Yes.
Just had my second baby.
Congratulations on that. And
Thank you.
हम आपके वीडियोस देखते हैं. You are doing it really well.
Trying. हम कहते हैं ना, don't believe everything you see on social media.
Trying. आपने एक बुक रिलीज किया था जिसका नाम है She'll Never Make It. तो लोगों ने ऐसा क्यों कहा that she'll never make it? What happened there?
मैंने तो बहुत ही सुना है she'll never make it, but when it comes to the book, I think it was not just about me. The feedback that I got from the book was that we've all heard this. हम सब ने ये सुना है, and that's been, I think, as an Indian woman, this has been ये हमारी अंदर की आवाज़ है, because we've heard it so much on the outside that it's just become an internal voice which really should not exist. So even in my journey, similarly, I think I've heard it so many times, and I hope you've read the book or you get a chance to read the book, but the whole point is that I still haven't made it, right? But it's been so beautiful to be able to explore myself on my own terms, to be able to make my decisions, to be able to shut out that noise and hold my own ground, draw my own boundaries without surrendering to this ye nahi kar payegi, right? Without surrendering to that tag and just being able to fight that tag in whatever small way or whatever large way, depending on wherever you are in life and wherever you come from.
Right. तो जब आपको लोगों ने ये कहा कि she'll never make it, उसका क्या असर पड़ा आप पर? And how did you act on it?
So, luckily, when I heard this, I was much younger. मैंने
Yeah.
मेरी journey quite early start की है, in my teen years. तो तभी ना आप में बहुत जोश रहता है. You're very motivated, and
Yeah.
also when you hear something, you don't let it bog you down. Somehow I used hearing this as motivation that I'm going to prove them wrong. मैं करके दिखा लूँगी. And whereas I feel today, as I'm sitting in front of you and I'm 31 years old, आज मुझे कुछ कह देना कोई, which happens all the time, it really does bring me down. It really takes so much more to be able to find the motivation that I can fight this. So I think at that point, I find myself very lucky that I started my journey so early. When you're young and just, I was at the age of 17 when I started
Yeah.
creating content. So at that time, I was hearing, she won't be able to do it, or what is she doing, और ये क्या समझती है अपने आप को, photos ले लेके रोड पे, internet पे डालेगी. It was put in a very negative connotation at that point. And I didn't even think about it. I said, who cares? Like, I like what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it, and I'll continue to do it. A little bit later on in the journey, I was, I was working on my e-commerce venture. I was meeting a lot of investors, raising funds. Again, I heard a lot of, हम आपकी कंपनी में क्यों पैसा डालें? आपकी तो शादी भी नहीं हुई है. और आपने कंपनी शुरू की है एंड कंपनी विल हिट सक्सेस, फिर आप बोलोगे मुझे शादी करनी है, देन यू लीव वर्किंग, then you'll have kids, then you'll leave working again. And it was so shocking to hear that. And I think through it all, you have to put blinders on and move forward. And I think this is something it's universal for women, yeah. It's not even just about work or career or entrepreneurship. This is
Everywhere.
about everything. This is about what we wear. It's about what we say. It's how we present ourselves. It's about what time we go out. It's about all of them.
All
that
of them.
there is always going to be people saying something about it, and you have to be able to put the blinders on. And that's what I did. I put my blinders on and just power through.
तो अभी जैसा आपने कहा कि शादी को लोग आपके सक्सेस के साथ जोड़ते हैं, विच इज़ सो शॉकिंग आई मीन टू इवन थिंक दैट वे. मतलब शादी का लड़की के सक्सेसफुल होने से क्या लेना देना है? हाउ डिड यू डील विद ऑल ऑफ दिस?
You know, the beautiful part about our country is we are evolving very rapidly.
दैट वी आर.
Growth hai. But 10 years ago also the situation was very different. In fact, this was a conversation between me and a investor that I was having. An investor looks at me and says, "Aap Gujarati ho, right?" So I said, "Haan." So he said, "Your parents must be conservative." I said, "Haan, thode bahut fairly conservative hai." "Okay, you live in a joint family." I said, "Haan, I'm from a joint family." तो he's like, then तो आप कहाँ business करोगे, वो तो आपकी शादी करा लेंगे, and then once you get married you'll stop working. And this is a very relevant conversation today. But when a conversation that you can't even imagine happening happens, right? And that there is a rejection that you face
Yeah.
at that point because this happened, so you understand the reality of it. That time it feels very crippling.
And also you're so young tabhi. You don't know what to do in that moment, how to react. So
Absolutely, and I think age in itself has been the most. I love that I started early. I love that I've had time on my hands, that I've got to explore so much from such a young age, because the one thing is that I've truly loved what I do from the time I started. So for me to have found it so early on is what I think about and kind of focus on. But at the same time, when you're that young, people don't take you that seriously, right? They'll be like, ये तो छोटी बच्ची है, क्या कर लेगी?
तो हमारे कॉन्वर्जेशन के स्टार्ट में आपने कहा था कि यू आर 31 नाउ, और आज भी लोग काफ़ी कुछ कहते हैं. सिंस नाउ यू आर अ ग्लोबल फैशन आइकॉन, व्हाट इज इट दैट पीपल येट हैव टू से?
People will always have something to say, and that's something that I've learned. You could be the biggest superstar in the world, or you could be someone who's at home living a happy life with their family, and everyone will still have something to say about you. So it's irrelevant what you do. It's irrelevant, and success is so is perspective. It's so perceptive, and it's really, it lies in the eyes of the beholder.
Correct.
Today, aapke aankh mein, it's a global fashion icon. In my eyes, I still feel like I'm not doing enough. What's my next project? What am I working on next? I've been away from work for a bit because I've just had a baby.
Yeah.
So I think it's so driven based on how you look at it and how you perceive it.
Right.
But to tell you some of the things that I hear today are even something as simply as this time when I had my baby, I decided I want to resume work quickly. Right? Because I think when you have a baby, it's the postpartum period can get
Yes.
difficult. There's a change in your hormones, right? So biologically, it's difficult to balance your emotions and how you feel. And something that really helps me maintain that balance is my work. Something that helps me calm myself down, regulate my emotions is my work. And this is a decision I made that I want to go back sooner. I want to go back after a month. I want to resume part-time working. Again, I find myself in a privileged position where I am my own boss. It is my company. And I'm able to do that, right? I have the option and the luxury of doing that. And I opted for that, to go back to work in a month. And there was so much negative feedback I received about it. Now the thing is, जब आप कोई बात करते हो ना सोशल मीडिया इंटरनेट पे, आप वो 2 लाइन बोल दोगे, oh I'm back to work. For everything you're not going to sit down and give the explanation of why you're doing it, how you're doing it, what is the reason behind it, how is it helping you. But there is so much negative feedback that I received on something like that. Everyone said that, अरे आपको तो बेबी के साथ रहना चाहिए, अभी बेबी इतनी छोटी है, how are you out and about? Or this is a wrong impression you're setting for women out there by returning back to work so soon, and this is a time of rest and this is a time of healing. But rest and healing means different things to different people. And we have to find a way to be respectful of that. And so it's interesting, right? This is something that I just literally as recent as last week that I've heard, and it's an incident I'm telling you about. And it's okay. You learn to deal with it, right? You also learn to accept that. I think the whole she'll never make it point is that you learn to understand and realize that you'll make it or you won't make it is up to you. But them saying whether you'll make it or not make it is absolutely irrelevant.
Right. Like, who are you to tell me what to do or what I
Yeah.
can do?
Yeah, and I think you are someone in your own right and in your own life, but who am I to give someone else that power? And why should we give someone else that power?
When you are not shooting content, what do you do at home? What do you love to do?
So I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm very obsessed with my family, and I think that's a part of my life that brings me a lot of peace, brings me a lot of happiness. But I have a lot of hobbies. I love reading. I love dancing. I love playing sports. So I've always found it very important to give as much time to play as much as I do to work. And the play for me is my family, it's my friends, it's going out, it's being able to spend enough time with myself, it's being able to find time for my hobbies, it's being able to really be in control of my day. And I think that's something that is very important to me.
How were you as a child, like growing up years in Prabhadevi? How do you look back at those moments?
Beautifully. I think I've had a very, very beautiful childhood. Spent a lot of time dancing. I've been, learning Bharatnatyam since I was about 6-7 years old. Learned it for 10 or 15 years. I was dancing, learning. So it was really fun time. A lot of my childhood was, being at school, coming home. Now that I'm a mom, I realize the importance of, walking into your house and having your mother there, and the kind of comfort that has brought to me my whole life. Because now I find the struggle with working full time and not being at home when your kids come back, and having to deal with that. So I understand and I realize the value of that, the privilege of walking home to your mom. We went down every evening to play in the building with our friends, with cycle, play our sakli and things like that. And yeah.
And how were you as a student? Were you did you enjoy studying, or you were more into extracurricular activities?
What do you think? What do I come across as? Do I come across
Creative.
as... Yeah.
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 But you could be studious and you could be creative.
No, so creative for sure, but I was definitely more focused on the extracurriculars than the textbooks. Absolutely average as a student. Never found any inclination to any subject. So when you're a kid and you go anywhere, सब लोग पूछते हैं कि आपका फेवरेट सब्जेक्ट क्या है?
हाँ, ये एक सवाल हमेशा आता
ये
है.
सवाल हमेशा आता है. And unfortunately, I used to look at them blankly कि यार कोई फेवरेट सब्जेक्ट है ही नहीं. ऐसा कोई सब्जेक्ट है ही नहीं that I really enjoy. And so I would say that I was really not studious, never enjoyed studying. And वो प्रेशर भी नहीं था, घर से कि स्टडी करना है.
That is the best part.
Yeah.
वरना हमारे जो इंडियन पेरेंट्स हैं उनके लिए स्टडीज इज
Absolutely.
academically you have to excel.
Absolutely. That's the norm. And my parents were the exception to that norm. You know, there was so much ease. There was so much. Sometimes I used to tell my mom कि कभी तो बोल दो यार. Like, or like sometimes sit with me before an exam or ले लो मेरी like syllabus ले लो. But it used to never happen. They were very chill about it. They were very relaxed. At home, it was always be a good human being. It was not, you know, that one line that you keep hearing. And I think for so many people, it's that you need to study. Or, you know, exams में अच्छे marks लाने, अच्छे grades लाने. For us at home, it was always be a good human being and see how you can be that. If you're going to school, you're not just going to study, right? You're going to learn, and learning can mean so much.
Yeah, like how to adapt in being with so many different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, different types of people. At home, who was a strict parent, your mom or your dad? Were you a mommy's girl or a daddy's girl?
So I keep switching. I like to keep them on their toes. But I think growing up, I was definitely a daddy's girl. And then right about when I got married to now, I'm a mommy's girl. But, you know, I think they play their own roles. One is my strength and one is my weakness. Now I leave it up to you to figure out which one.
I think...
But I'm very close to both.
Yeah. I think the people you love the most, they can be both to you, your strength and your weakness. आपको कब एहसास हुआ that you really love fashion?
मुझे एहसास हुआ that I really love fashion when I realized that कुछ और तो पसंद ही नहीं है. You know, you're at that point, and I was at that point where you're kind of finishing school. Then you're like, okay, what do I do next? And then everyone starts asking you that, you know, क्या करना है? कौन सी फील्ड लोगी? And you're like, but कुछ पसंद ही नहीं है. And a lot of the fields that you want to kind of take up, of course, required you to be academically of a certain level. And as a person, I've always been very aware of what my strengths and weaknesses are. And this is something that has been the case since I was, you know, in my early teens, that I understand myself and I understand myself very well. I knew that my idhar kuch, you know, if I pick up something that I wouldn't be able to cope up with, I knew what was my cup of tea and what wasn't. I knew that I was more creatively inclined. And fashion was something that I was just a little bit interested in. You know, ऐसा नहीं था that, oh, I love fashion and मुझे यही करना है. I think, and you know, people always ask me that, how do you decide what to do? How do you find a career that you love so much?
Yeah.
And this is what I say, right? I say that there is always an inkling. You know, there's that gut. Your gut and your intuition never screams at you. It'll always send a very silent, very soft message. You'll only receive the message if you're really listening. So focus on what that gut is telling you. And that gut only gave me a hint of fashion, right? It gave me that little like, किसी ने आपके कान में आके whisper कर दिया that, you know, this is something that could work out. And then you have to pursue it.
Right.
You have to chase it. And the easiest way of chasing it is through experience, through internships, through mentoring, through asking for that mentorship, to asking, you know, people who've been in the industry about what you can do and what you can't do and what is that path looking like. And for me, I did a bunch of internships to gain that experience. And the internships really helped me realize what I didn't like. You know, there were parts of fashion that I didn't like. And then slowly, I knew I enjoyed fashion, but it's not about the field that you choose. It's not about the career that you choose. It's more about the emotion and the purpose that's attached to that career and to that field. I love that fashion allows you to express yourself.
Yeah.
It allows you to, represent your mood, how you're feeling. How you dress completely speaks about your personality. And I think that process is so intuitive. That process is something that I've really enjoyed. So it's really not black and white, right? Similarly with content creation, it's not like मुझे camera चालू करके, you know, I want to stand here and take videos all day. That's not the path that I enjoy. The path that I enjoy is the community. The path that I enjoy is that I have a message, right? And that message could be about what I'm wearing today. but that message is reaching so many people. It's creating conversation, right? It's there's a community that I have who's
Hmm.
you know I've who I love. They've literally like my family online. They have
Yeah.
seen me for years and years, and that's the path that kind of keeps bringing me back.
मासूम, आपका एक स्पिरिचुअल साइड भी है, तो आपका झुकाव स्पिरिचुअलिटी की तरफ कब बढ़ा, एंड हाउ डू यू यूज इट इन योर डेली लाइफ?
So I believe that spirituality is nothing but going inwards. And that journey for me actually started when I was again quite young. There was a book that my mom gifted me, and that with that book my journey started. And what it taught me is that we really do have the power to control our mind, to control our thoughts, and we underestimate it, right? So it's the combination of that and believing in divine intervention. And when the two come together, right, when you understand that it's not outwards that you need to go, it's inwards that you need to go to achieve everything that you want to achieve, um, emotionally, in every way, absolutely. I think that is the beauty of life,
Yeah.
right? And of course, along the way, I think spirituality, it's a journey of learning.
Absolutely.
So it's something that you
Hmm.
learn every single day. It's like a very, very deep well, and every day you're able to dip in just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit
Hmm.
more. So I think there have been so many learnings, but because my job requires me to be so outwardly, right? It requires me to express. It requires me to constantly be talking to like thousands and thousands, millions of people
Hmm.
actually, on the internet. I realized that I can't keep putting so much out if I don't take care of myself from within, right? That balance is required. And you need to take that pause every day. You cannot take that pause at a wellness retreat. It's a
Right.
pause you have to take every single day.
Your life is all out there on social media. You interact with millions and millions of people. So there are a lot of comments that they pass. Do they really affect you? Like good, bad? Do you read them? Because that's your audience.
It's been a journey.
Hmm.
There's been a time where I've been extremely affected by it. It's made me very, very anxious. There was a time where, there would be comments that I would read and I wouldn't sleep a wink at night. I've turned to professional help to deal with trolling on social media. Then there's been a time where I've learned the different sides of it, right? I've also learned to understand that it's my choice to put my life out there. So I do have to accept that people are entitled to their opinion, because ये मेरी चॉइस है. मैंने डिसाइड किया है कि मैं बात करूँगी अपने लाइफ के बारे में, मैं बात करूँगी अपनी ओपिनियंस, अपने पर्सपेक्टिव्स शेयर करूँगी. तो अगर मैं कर सकती हूँ तो वो क्यों नहीं कर सकते,
Right.
right? So I think there's been that growth. It's been a journey. Today I also realize that सब कुछ ट्रोलिंग नहीं होती है यार. Like some of it is constructive criticism. Some of it is constructive feedback which you can take with a smile. Like सब लोग नहीं हाँ में हाँ मिलाएंगे, सब लोग को नहीं पसंद आएगा, and that's okay.
Hmm.
You're not here to please everyone. You're not here to get that yes, oh my god, wow, I agree with you from everyone. Life's not fun then.
Life's not
मजा ही
fun.
कहाँ है?
जैसे ब्रांड्स अपने कंज्यूमर्स के फीडबैक लेते हैं और फिर उस पर एक्ट करते हैं. For y'all content creators, I think the people who comment on your videos, you guys take feedback from there to act upon your videos.
Absolutely. My community is why I'm here today. If I'm giving this interview, we're doing this podcast together, it's because of my community. That is what has brought me here. So for me to ever disregard what they're saying would be a big mistake. I would never do that. I'm here because of them. So now it is up to me, and it's required, like I said, it has required actually seeking that professional help to be able to distinguish कि क्या है trolling, क्या है कंस्ट्रक्टिव फीडबैक, किसको रिस्पॉन्ड करना है, किसको नहीं करना है, यू नो, हु इज टॉकिंग टू फ्रॉम अ फेक प्रोफाइल दैट डजंट एग्जिस्ट, बट हु इज योर कम्युनिटी सेइंग दैट ये कंटेंट नहीं पसंद आया और व्हाट यू सेड वाज इनकरेक्ट. एंड कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स भी तो इंसान है, इट्स ओके, वी कैन मेक आवर मिस्टेक्स, वी कैन कम बैक, but I think you have to find that, you have to accept that
this is going to
it's
happen.
a part of the job. It's a part of the job. No one's, literally every job has its pros, has its cons.
You know, it is very brave of you that you openly spoke about seeking professional help. I know we are all evolving, हम सब इस बारे में बात करते हैं, बट अभी भी कोई खुलकर ये नहीं कह पाता है दैट मुझे प्रोफेशनल हेल्प की ज़रूरत थी. एक्चुअली हमें पता ही नहीं लगता है कि हमें ज़रूरत कब पड़ती है. तो कैन यू टॉक लाइक स्ट्रेस मोर अबाउट मेंटल हेल्थ बिकॉज इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्पेशली इन द टाइम ऑफ online digital
Social
age.
media.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can share my personal experience.
Sure.
I think that's the extent to which I can share too. But I feel like for me, I would read one bad comment and my whole body would go stiff. I think जब आपका mental pressure इतना हो जाता है that it starts becoming, you start feeling it physically, I think that was a symptom for me that I need to do something about it, right? And that doing something about it could mean many things. For me, I would talk to my family and friends, but they wouldn't understand what I'm saying because it's content creation. ये इंटरनेट की दुनिया, ये सोशल मीडिया की दुनिया बहुत नई दुनिया है. It's a very new, it's a very new industry. So if I would say this, my friends would say, or my family would say that it's okay yaar, hota hai, like get over it, and they would not understand what I'm saying. And I realized that I felt fear, right? And it was a larger fear. It was not कि किसी को मेरा content नहीं पसंद आया और मैंने कुछ वीडियो में wrong बोल दिया which I shouldn't have said, or I represented something in a wrong way, and or somebody didn't like the outfit I was wearing, even something as trivial as that. But I would read this comment and my mind would spiral, my body would stiffen, and I would think this one comment will become 10, the 10 will become 100, फिर ये 100 comments ट्विटर पे जाएगी, फिर ट्विटर पे डिस्कशन हो जाएगा, फिर न्यूज़ में आर्टिकल आ जाएगी, then I'll get cancelled, then I'll lose my job, and I love my job so much. So I would automatically go into, my brain was shutting down. With one negative comment, my brain was shutting down. And this is something that I realized quickly was not healthy and I had to deal with. And I've always been a very solution-oriented person. That's always been me. So I first turned to family and friends. I was like, this is not helping, yaar. These incidents kept happening. And then I turned to professional help. And then I learned to look inwards. I learned to realize that because seeking professional help for your mental health gives you perspective.
Right.
But it also teaches you, it's a learning process. It teaches you to understand yourself better. It teaches you why you're feeling a certain way in a certain situation. And when you understand why you're feeling a certain way, you're able to deal with it. I understood that I'm dealing with this really large fear here, that I feel like I could lose my career overnight, and I'm connecting that to one comment that comes. And if I'm not able to deal with this in a healthy manner, I might anyways lose my career. Because a big part of being a content creator is showing up with honesty. It's showing up with authenticity. It's the camera, It's not just content creation, it's the camera. When you're, you are very successful. You've been, you host so many IPs, and you know this, that if you're not interested in a conversation, the camera will show it. It will catch it like this. The camera just has this transparency filter लगा हुआ है. आप झूठ बोल दो ना, वो भी लोग पकड़ लेते हैं. You cannot lie. And ये तो I'm talking about larger audiences. मैं तो मेरी community की बात कर रही हूँ. My community तो knows me so well. वो लोग तो पकड़ ही लेंगे कि मैं झूठ बोल रही हूँ. So if I'm creating content from a place of stress of not being कि मैं कुछ wrong बोल दूंगी, that something will go wrong, or I have to please everyone. I'm not being authentic. I'm not being myself. So I really had to open myself up to the thought that it's okay to make mistakes. And it's okay for everyone to not agree with what I'm saying. And I learned to deal with that as well. So still learning, still have those moments where it's still very difficult to deal with negative comments that come in. But I think I'm getting better at being able to deal with it.
Actually, I was about to ask that, do you still get affected?
Yeah, absolutely. I spoke to you about this incident about me going back to work. I would never bring it up if I was not affected. वो कहीं तो, it's playing on your
in the
mind,
back of your mind.
At the back of your mind, which is why I've brought it up today. I shared it with you today.
You're doing well. You should know that. And I think you know that very well. So the first time when you started blogging, was it during that time that you thought I should pursue this as my career? Or it was like on a random day that you decided, I should get into this. There is potential. आगे जाकर बहुत flourish होगा ये industry.
I was barely 17 years old. वो तो industry था ही नहीं तभी, honestly नहीं था. And we all of us were the first generation of content creators,
Yeah.
So तभी कुछ scope ही नहीं लगता था. कुछ लगता ही नहीं था that this will become such a big industry today. So definitely not. It was just something that was really fun. I was just having a blast doing it. That's the best way to do
That's
it,
the
right?
best
When
way,
you're having
yeah.
a good time.
Yeah. But do you remember what was those first shoots that you covered, or what did you blog about? Do you have that memory?
Of course, I remember each one of them. I remember literally each one of them. तब मैं मेरे रूम में बहुत शूट करती थी. I would put the camera. मेरा एक टेबल था, उस पे कैमरा रख के I would put it on self timer. I would click the button 10 सेकंड देते self timer के लिए. Then I would run there and pose. फिर go back, click it. So it was really fun. I used to make my grandfather take my photos for my blog. I would take my family. एक बार मम्मी की कोई फ्रेंड को भी पकड़ के बोल दिया था, प्लीज़ आप मेरी फ़ोटोज़ ले लो. I was always looking for people to shoot. घर के बाजू में ऐसा वो स्टेशन पे जाने के लिए वो ब्रिज रहता है. I used to shoot in that bridge because I thought it was aesthetically very pleasing. So I think it was a really fun journey.
So you discovered aesthetic before it could become a trend.
Yeah, of course.
So how was your family's reaction to this? Like, did they know back then that you're getting too serious about it? And maybe when the day you told them that I want to pursue this as my career, did they welcome this decision?
So two things. Firstly, I was so young, I don't think they took me only seriously. They're like, कि क्या कर रही है, इसको करने दो, अभी तो कितनी छोटी है. Like, it was irrelevant. I was in college. Second thing, my family's always been very supportive. And they've always been, they've always given me the choice, to make my own choices, to make my own decisions. So, of course, even they, I'm sure, were constantly like, कि क्या कर रही है, but they didn't always have an opinion on everything. And this is something I tell myself all the time as a parent, that, I aspire to be, is सब चीज़ पे comment होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. I think as a generation, we don't understand this, but it's okay to let people figure things out by themselves.
Right. So, talking about this content creation industry, were you welcomed wholeheartedly by your peers or the people?
हम थे ही 5-6 लोग. We were literally, and now when we meet and we talk about those times, we are like, oh my God, like it was so, yes, we were absolutely, because we needed each other also. ना वो थोड़ा support चाहिए था. So it's always been a very collaborative industry. Content creation is always, collaboration is it's the crux of it. Yeah, आप brands के साथ भी देख लो, आप collaborate ही कर रहे हो brands के साथ. तो आप PR companies के साथ, PR agencies के साथ भी collaborate ही कर रहे हो. So it's a very collaborative industry. And even with other creators, it's always been like that.
Who are these 5 people you're talking about जो starting से आपके साथ रहे हैं?
अभी मैं किसी का नाम लूंगी, फिर किसी को भूल जाऊंगी, फिर तो सब
Okay. So let's not get into that then. तो हम ना ये क्रिएटर्स इकोनॉमी ये वर्ड बहुत सुनते हैं, बट हमारे व्यूअर्स के लिए आप इसको थोड़ा सिंप्लीफाई करके बता सकते हैं कि व्हाट इज क्रिएटर्स इकोनॉमी?
आई थिंक हम कंटेंट क्रिएटर से तो बहुत ही फेमिलियर है.
हाँ.
All of us are watching videos and reels and shorts all day long from different content creators from the world, and we have so many in our country.
Yeah.
But ये content creators ने इसको job कैसे बना दिया? How is this a business? How is this bringing food on the table? How are they monetizing these videos? इसे पैसे कैसे बना रहे हैं? That is basically what the creator economy is, right? What is the brand that you're building today as a creator? As a personal brand, what are you representing? Like the personal brand of Masoom Meenawala clearly stands for very distinct values. The things I talk about, the lifestyle I represent, the kind of content I share, and then, you know, being able to collaborate with other brands, being able to, collaborate with other events to kind of showcase this is what kind of the entire creator economy entails. But fundamentally, it's that आप content लेके उसको कैसे monetize कर सकते हो और उसके अराउंड एक community कैसे बना सकते हो.
क्या आपको याद है आपका पहला ब्रांड कोलैबोरेशन कौन सा था और वो कैसे हुआ था?
Absolutely याद है.
Which one was it?
तो वो परफ्यूम ब्रांड था एक, और इट वॉज ब्यूटिफुल. मुझे याद है जब वो ईमेल आया था मेरे इनबॉक्स में, आई रिमेंबर रीडिंग द ईमेल. इट वॉज अ लग्जरी ब्रांड बिकॉज क्रिएटर इकोनॉमी इंडिया में इट्स एब्सोल्युटली बूमिंग टुडे, बट इट डिड पिक अप इन द वेस्ट बिफोर. Right, so the first blogger, we used to call them at that time, the first blogger I also saw was based in Amsterdam, and I was so fascinated by her blog, and that's how I wanted to start my own blog. So it was the global brands that recognized this as a form of marketing before the Indian counterparts did. तो मेरे इनबॉक्स में आया था लग्जरी ब्रांड का नाम लिख के और उसके सामने था वर्ड कोलैबोरेशन, एंड आई वाज सो एक्साइटेड. एंड आई रिमेंबर मैंने वो पोस्ट किया था उनके परफ्यूम के लिए और मैंने चार्ज किया था 5,000 रुपीज़, एंड आई वाज इलेटेड फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दैट तो मैं फ़ोटोज़ और वीडियोज़ खींच सकती हूँ एंड आई कैन शेयर इट विथ पीपल, और इसमें अपॉर्चुनिटी है पैसे भी बनाने की. Right, and that, I think that was that first exposure to that this can really be a legitimate business.
Wow. And how old were you back then?
I was like 17.
17.
Yeah.
That's commendable. How did the people perceive you in this industry? Considering, were there any gender biases that you went through, that you had to go through?
So honestly, as a content creator, I've not faced any gender biases. But in my journey as an entrepreneur, I've faced many. As a content creator, not really. But as an entrepreneur, I think through all of it, right? Actually, let me rephrase. Not as an entrepreneur, but as a person, as a woman. As a woman, I've faced so many gender biases, like through and through. And through the journey of creating content, starting a business, raising funds, shutting that business down, dabbling in different things, today being an investor myself, I think there have been multiple incidents that I've faced that gender bias. And so one of my first few investments was in real estate. एक छोटा सा फ्लैट था जो खरीदा, and amongst family, friends, like personal circles, everyone would turn to my husband and say, congratulations, यार मैंने सुना आप लोग ने इन्वेस्ट किया है, and they would just look through me, and they would say congratulations, तो अच्छी बात की, यहाँ अच्छी प्रॉपर्टी, अच्छी फ्लैट है, good decision. And I'm like, मैं तो इधर ही खड़ी हूँ और मैंने बहुत काम किया है, I've worked very hard, और मेहनत की कमाई है. So I think even in that moment, right, you feel belittled, like you feel like थोड़ा तो acknowledge कर दो, you know. And the thing is that there is no, and this is changing, right? This is changing today, and I have witnessed that change. I started earning very young, you know,
Yeah.
at an early age. So I've witnessed that stage. I've been financially independent for a very long time. So I've witnessed that change of people's perception on women and money and their financial independence from a long time. I've seen how it's evolved rapidly. And this was a while back, and yeah, I felt like आप लोग को तो लगता ही नहीं है कि I can do it, right? That's the thought. That's a gender bias. That in that room, it didn't occur to you for 1 minute that the woman could have made that investment, that woman could have bought that apartment with her own money.
And even in that moment, I'm sure you must have felt this, that instead of feeling the enjoyment of buying that house or that flat, you were thinking about this, that you did not even get the acknowledgement.
यार I've also become confident. मैं तो बोल देती थी फिर मुंह पे, you know.
अच्छा.
Yeah, I think and I have a very supportive husband as well, and he's always been very proud of my journey and my work. And if I was not saying it, he would say it. In fact, he would say it first. You know, he'd be like, this was Masoom's decision. This is something that Masoom has done. And I think that is so important. कि लोग जो भी कह ले, I think at home, to be able to be that person, right? To be able to cut the gender bias at home. And I wish more people would realize that.
You know, that kind of partnership is very important for your mental health and success.
Yeah. And I you know, the reason I think it's so important to share this, you know, my dadima, when she's not here, she's not alive anymore, but when she was here and I was creating content, she would always say that, yeah, you know, talk about whatever you want, but don't go and talk about your relationship. You know, she used to say in Gujarati, Shailen ni baat nahi karje. Like, don't talk about him. Don't talk about, you know, nazar lagi jaise. Like, don't talk about this. But I think this was a one thing. There is nothing she ever said. You know, grandmothers can be orthodox.
Yeah.
They can be like, why are you wearing this? And why are you talking about this? And, you know, like, this is too short. But this was the one thing she told me. That also I didn't listen. But I think it's so important to share this because I hope men that are watching this realize the impact it can have, right? And that's the message that I want to put out there. It's not for the women. This is for the men, that this is the person you need to be. There is so much gender bias that we anyways face in society.
Absolutely.
We don't need to face it at home. In fact, they could be you know, a great tool, a great weapon that we can all have on our side.
Like you say that, you know, everything begins at home. So according to you, what is the importance of money to you, and why every woman should be financially independent, especially in today's time?
Money is very important to me. I think I have stuttered to even say this statement for years in my life, because we've made to feel that
the judgment is passed.
There's a judgment.
Yeah.
कि काम करो, हाँ टाइम पास के लिए कर लो, हाँ काम करो तो if you love it, do it. But I also work for the money, and I'm so proud to say that. Why? It's a very positive thing. But I enjoy working for money.
Sorry, you know, the first thing that comes to anyone's mind when you say, oh, I love money, they think that you are greedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Money has, in society, had a very negative representation for as long as we can remember. You know, it's crazy, but think about this. In every movie, Bollywood movies ka dekh lo. Every Bollywood movie will always show the really rich uncle as the villain. वो जो खराब है ना, उसका बहुत बड़ा घर होगा. And they'll be evil in some way or the other. बहुत बड़ा घर होगा, बहुत बड़ी ऑफिस होगी, but खतरनाक आदमी निकलेगा. So, you know, like, I think there is a negative connotation to it, and it's always been there, and I think we need to change that. We need to change this, and we need to change this as women, because यार हम लोग को तो taboo ही बना दिया था to just have this topic, have this
Yeah.
discussion. Fathers and husbands would say that आपको पैसे की चिंता करने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. You don't need to talk. You don't need to think about money. You don't need to worry about money. We'll worry about it. But why? Right? I think women are far better at making financial decisions than men are. We are so in tune. We are bigger risk takers. We are better multitaskers. We are better money managers. Women have been managing money in the Indian household for eons.
Yeah.
For decades and decades, we've been managing the money at home. And we just need to find the confidence to be able to manage it outside as well.
And managing very well.
Yeah.
Like, even if you give them 100 rupee, and they will
Absolutely.
ensure that everything is done in that 100 rupee.
Absolutely.
और वो सेव करके चावल के डिब्बे में या वो पहले रखते थे, that also they would do.
Yeah, I think women are inherent savers and
Yeah.
investors, right? Inherently, it's something that we've seen since the beginning of time.
We'll talk about your presence at the Cannes Film Festival. That was, may I say it was the turning point of your life?
Absolutely, yes.
How do you recall this moment, and please share how did it go through over there? Like the people you met there, the brands you met, and what all was going on in your mind?
It was an absolutely incredible experience, and honestly, going back every year feels different every single year, but it's just as special. You think Cannes Film Festival इतनी बड़ी moment है, इतना बड़ा event है, and it is. But when you're there, it's that small. It's actually so intimate. आपकी वो एक strip रहता है. It's called the Croisette.
Okay.
In Cannes. वो एक ही strip आप समझ लो, वो एक बड़ी lane है. और वो एक बड़ी lane में 5 होटल है where everyone is staying.
Okay.
Facing the hotels is the most beautiful ocean. At the end of the lane is the theater. So you're spending your entire time in this little vicinity, and it's like a small little, for all the it's displayed so magnanimously because it is, but at the core of it, it's a very beautiful blend of creative people coming together, expressing themselves. We're celebrating some incredible cinema. And, through the process of celebrating this incredible cinema, it's also become a moment for brands.
Yes.
And that's where content creators like me come in. Because there's relationships we have with brands. Brands use this as a moment to promote their launches, to promote their products, to promote their brand language, if I can say so. So that's kind of my role that I play at Cannes Film Festival, and it's always been very exciting for me. It's a blend of the purpose of me going there is the brand that I'm going with, right? To put it very simply, it is to be able to create a difference to whatever it is that the brand is trying to achieve. I'm working with a brand only if it matches my ethos, right? It can also get very daunting. It can get very overwhelming because we एक होटल है. It's called Hotel Martinez.
Okay.
वहाँ पे सब कुछ वहाँ पे ही होता है. और वो होटल की लिफ्ट ना इतनी सी है, लिटरली इतनी सी लिफ्ट है. तो आप समझ लो दैट 4 लोग हैं या 5 लोग हैं तो देर लाइक यू आर टचिंग ईच अदर.
हाँ.
बट वो सेम लिफ्ट में सब लोग ऊपर नीचे कर रहे हैं. मैं भी एक कंटेंट क्रिएटर जैसे ऊपर नीचे कर रही हूँ, बट द biggest star is also right there next to you. Aishwarya Rai is also using that lift at Cannes Film Festival, and everything happens in that one hotel, and it's not a resort, it's a building style of a hotel.
Okay.
तो आप ऐसे shoulders को nudge कर रहे हो that you've only dreamed of seeing, like from the biggest Hollywood stars that you see on the carpet are in that elevator. And it almost gives you this very close lens to the creative industry, to the media industries as we know it today. So it can get overwhelming that मैं कहाँ हूँ, and everyone is very fascinated with the Cannes Film Festival. So obviously everyone has an opinion on what you're wearing, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and they very rightfully have an opinion. But of course sometimes even as a creative person आप तो वो pressure में पड़ ही जाते हो that क्या reaction आ रहा है. It's human, yeah.
It's human.
So that part gets a bit overwhelming as well, right? The performance, the reaction on the performance. But I always try to remind myself, and how I center myself is, why am I there? What is my purpose? I'm there with a brand. I need to represent their story in the right way. I'm there to work. It's a part of my job.
Did you manage to have a conversation with Aishwarya Rai?
Yes, I have.
did?
I have.
And could you take us through that? Like, what was it about?
No, she's absolutely lovely. But I have to point out that, even the first time I went to Cannes, this is one of the largest film festivals in the world.
Yes.
And probably the biggest one in terms of the kind of media and, just the media and attention it garners. And Aishwarya Rai is the very icon of Cannes Film Festival. Every local in Cannes, the people that live there know her. They come for her. And it's so beautiful to witness an Indian make this level of a mark globally. It is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I've witnessed it, right? Because there was a time, one of the years that she walked right before me. And when you see everyone, right, has so proudly held the flag of India, and she's so beautifully carried it through the years. What an icon. And the love that the people have for her at Cannes, and I'm talking about the audiences, I'm talking about the people that are lining up there. It was heartwarming to see that.
Even through the pictures, we can see the aura that she radiates over there on the carpet.
Absolutely. She has a presence. She's the queen of Cannes Film Festival. Yeah.
Like you said, we also see that you promote a lot of these Indian handlooms, and you really support them. So where and how did this idea germinate?
So, like you said, Cannes Film Festival was one of the turning points in my career. Another turning point in my career was during the lockdown. Right, my community really, really grew at that point. People were spending more time online, and my community really grew. And at that time, there was this thought that came in very strongly that I have this incredible platform. My community is now so large. How can I do something beyond talking about me, myself, and I? How can I go beyond talking about my life, my opinions, my perspective, my outfit? Right? I think that this job can get a bit vain.
The saturation point.
Yeah, and you have to be aware of how vain can you be and how long can this vanity really serve you, right? And that's when I said that how can I use my platform to actually highlight others? How can I use my platform to highlight others' work? And I started looking at the things that I'm really passionate about. And one thing that came to me very strongly is, firstly, what within fashion we have in our country. It's absolutely precious. It is invaluable. And I think no country in the world has this level of talent. When we talk about the kind of homegrown designers we have, the kind of Indian brands that we have, no country in this world, firstly, has this volume that we have of Indian homegrown brands and designers. And no country in the world has this volume of talent.
Yeah.
The quality of work that's coming out of India is in the fashion space. I can speak about that because that's my space. It's remarkable. And can I use my platform to celebrate that? And that's where Support Indian Designers was born. And I'm so grateful to that. I'm so grateful to this series, to this IP of Support Indian Designers, because it's given me purpose.
Yeah.
It's showed me that when you highlight the work of others and when you're able to bring others up, and a big part of Support Indian Designers, and I'm I'm a business person, right? I'm very, very entrepreneurial.
Hmm.
So of course there is the media image and there is the views and there is the content that's going viral. But for me, I need to see a strong profit and loss statement. I need to see a balance sheet that makes sense.
Hmm.
That is I'm Gujarati, half Marwadi. That's where this deadly combo kicks in, right? And that's what I wanted to do for the brands. It's not about कि मैंने आपको publicity दे दी. I said, can there be a way that I can actually impact their business? Can there be a way that I can actually, if there is a homegrown brand, if there is a woman sitting in Patna and making these little potlis, how can I increase her sales, yeah? Because that is what's going to give this woman
Yeah.
empowerment. That is what is going to empower her. It's not about her gaining the followers. Today, her empowerment will come in if I can actually grow her business from a very tangible aspect, right? अगर वहाँ पे मैं थोड़ा कुछ impact कर सकूँ, that would be the game changer. And that's what the result of supporting Indian designers has been. We've driven so many sales. Driving sales for these brands has been the very core purpose and focus for us. And it's been amazing. It's been very, very, it's been incredible to see the kind of, again, it's a play of my community, right?
Yeah.
That they've also supported the brands. They trust me and they trust what I'm saying. And in turn, they go and support the brands that I'm talking about.
That's really beautiful what you do. I mean, we all promote the high-end brands in some way or the other by wearing that brand, by carrying that bag or whatever. But to actually support our homegrown brands, it's a commendable thing that you've started. Because I personally love all homegrown brands.
No, absolutely. And I make it a point. If I have any appearance, if I'm shooting something, I will try my level best to be wearing an Indian label.
Let's take it.
So even today, I'm wearing this beautiful designer. It's called Kamali Pret. And
It's lovely.
just discovered while I was scrolling and reached out to them. I said, I'd love to feature you within supporting designers. And
It looks absolutely lovely. Like
Thank
it's
you.
in trend, very comfy. The look and feel is very comfy.
this is what I mean when I'm talking about the talent, right?
Yeah.
That there is a talent, there is the design sensibilities. I mean, in general, as Indians, we are very creative. We're very creative, we're very expressive because colors and design has been it's a part of our DNA. So for us, I think this comes very easily.
Yeah. So, Masoom, because you have gone internationally, you have interacted and worked and collaborated with the brands there, what is the positioning of Indian fashion over there?
It's incredible. I think the whole world is so fascinated with our design aesthetic and with the color, with the beauty. But most importantly, it is the technical ability that Indians possess when it comes to fashion. The kind of embroideries, the kind of handloom, the kind of intricate detailing when it comes, there is no country in the world that has this level of expertise when it comes to fashion than India. We are primarily, if you think about this and you go years and years ago, we are craftspeople,
Yeah.
right? That's where we come from. What did people do when, in the villages, what is a main occupation?
Craftsmanship.
It's craftsmanship. It's literally craftsmanship. That's where we come from. Now, unfortunately, there is a lot of these crafts actually dying out. And there is revival needed because we turn to the West so much, we forget to look at home. And I think as a spokesperson of Indian fashion and having such a large platform, that's why I make it a point to talk about these different handlooms, talk about these different textiles, talk about these different forms of embroidery, because if we can create awareness, people will know about it. And if
Yeah.
people know about it, they will learn to wear it, buy it, celebrate it.
And we have the right platform to use
We have
it.
the right
Yeah,
platform,
absolutely.
absolutely. So when I go to Paris and I'm watching these incredible luxury brands, I'm seeing this when I go for the Dior show and I
Hmm.
see the most stunning setting, and then I look at the clothes and I say, wow, that's made in India, because it is. And that's a sense of pride. And I always turn to the person sitting next to me and I say, that's made in India. And I think in our little way, we have to keep spreading that message.
Yes. Masoom, amid all of this, the trends keep changing. Is there a pressure of staying relevant all the time?
Of course, that's the pressure. There's a major pressure of staying relevant all the time, but नहीं हो सकता यार. Like, that's not life. Like,
Yeah.
हम नहीं रह सकते relevant all the time. और उसमें मज़ा कहाँ है? What is the... You don't want to be here all the time. You want to have this, so when you go back up, you'll enjoy it again, right? So I think that's life. You have to enjoy it in the waves. Pressure तो है, not gonna lie.
अच्छा, एज अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर आप लोग लाइक आपकी पूरी जो लाइफ है वो आप सोशल मीडिया पर डिस्प्ले करते हो. हाउ डू यू डिसाइड कि क्या दिखाना है क्या नहीं दिखाना है?
ये तो mistakes कर करके ही सीखे हैं. There is no other formula to it. Literally, I mean, there was a time where मैं इतना share करती थी, and now I look at it, I'm like, क्या ज़रूरत थी? Like, now, I can't talk about the past, but I've been an oversharer.
Okay.
Sometimes I think today, when I'm sharing something, I try to ask myself that, what is the point of this? कुछ purpose है इसको? Sometimes that purpose could be just fun.
Yeah.
It could be just entertainment. But at least it should be fun or entertaining. अगर value नहीं add
हाँ.
करो तो at least उसको मजेदार बना दो.
हाँ, every conversation should add some value.
Yeah, and if not value, then let it be entertainment. But
So अगर हमने कैन की ऑलरेडी बात की है that has been a defining moment of your career, but if you had to choose one more defining moment, the time when you thought, oh, अब now I have become famous, लोग आ रहे हैं, बात करना चाह रहे हैं, सेल्फी ले रहे हैं, when was that, what was that moment for you?
I think it was a moment that people started recognizing my family, and they would stop them when I wasn't even around. I think that felt very successful.
Yes.
That felt like, because I was, I wasn't even around, and they would go up to my parents, they would go up to my in-laws, to my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. They were in Kashmir, and once somebody from my community, she went up to them and she said, I love your daughter-in-law's content. Or I think that feeling to be able to give your parents is
beyond everything.
Beyond everything.
Right. Masoom, you are a mother of 2, and you recently delivered a baby.
First time I'm hearing someone say this.
Yeah. So, Masoom, you are a mother of 2, and yet you are here and doing this interview. Incredible. Like, that is really commendable. But postpartum is a phase that, like you said, hormonal changes होते हैं. So you have your good days, you have your bad days, and like you said कि आपने एक हफ्ते में काम resume किया है. So how do you motivate yourself? What is the motivation to come out and start working?
I love my work. It's very important to me. And I've realized that we don't need to pick and choose, यार. Like, बहुत सुन लिया कि आप ये कर सकते हो, और you can do this. Why can't we have it all? Why can't I have my
Absolutely.
kids and have my work? Why can't I have my 2 kids and go back to work, right? And it's okay. I can do it. I think women can have it all, and that's the kind of message that I want to be hearing today. As a mother of 2, who's flustered, who's stressed, who's in postpartum, means वहाँ तो tears पे control ही नहीं होता है. That's the feeling, because your hormones have no control. But that's what I want to hear, that I can power through. I can also be lying in bed for 4 hours at a stretch, and let me be the decision maker of my own life.
I'm sure this will inspire a lot of moms. Okay, now we take some questions for your followers. Korean men fashion काफी trend में है. Do you think it's ideal for an Indian man structure too?
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to see Indian men dress like that.
आप फैशन को बहुत करीब से देख रहे हो, तो मुंबई और दिल्ली के बीच का जो फैशन है उसका डिफरेंस क्या है?
So I think Bombay थोड़ा chill है.
हाँ,
You know, आप restaurant में जाओगे, you'll see people in flip-flops.
या
You know, you'll see people in ripped jeans. And Delhi is more elaborate, more over the top, more dressy, more glamorous. And Bombay is more understated, more chic, more casual. So I think yeah, difference.
it's winters, and who better than you to give us some amazing winter tips for women? Winter fashion tips.
So I love tweed as a fabric to be worn in winter. I think हमारा pashmina भी देख लो, can be styled in so many different ways. Something that's really trending right now is ponchos, right? And I think that's a beautiful way to kind of play around with your style as well. So that's something I would recommend.
And from the Bollywood, like from our film industry, which actor do you feel has always been ahead of their fashion game, like one step, one notch higher, always?
I love Deepika Padukone's style, so I'd have to say her.
Yeah. And from the male actor that you think is always ahead of their fashion game?
I think Vicky Kaushal,
Okay, I think we all would agree with that.
of course.
Yes. So a fashion statement that looks good on all kind of shapes and sizes for women, like no matter what your body type is, but
A white shirt can do no wrong, ever.
ever.
I think वो आप एक white shirt को कितने तरीकों में स्टाइल कर सकते हो, कितनी चीज़ों के साथ स्टाइल कर सकते हो. So I think that's a staple. आप आप अपनी साइज़ का ले लो, आप थोड़ा ओवर साइज ले लो, आप डिफरेंट कट का ले लो. But it's something that is, I have so many white shirts.
Yeah. Similarly for men, like which is that one?
No questions asked, a white shirt. A man in a white shirt is 1 second success.
Okay.
They're all smiling. They agree.
Yeah, the men in this room are certainly
You want to go on a
happy.
first date, you have to wear a white shirt.
So, Masoom, before we wrap up, there is this very important question that I want to ask you, that there are many people who are aspiring to be content creators because it is a career in its own. So, what is that one advice that you would like to give them?
The advice I'd like to give them is think hard about this decision. Times have changed. Creator economy is a very crowded space today.
Yeah.
So when you come in today, make sure that you have a definitive voice. Make sure to be very authentic, to be very original, and make sure to create something that doesn't exist already, and to create something that can actually make a difference, make a ripple in the market. And I think there's so much space. It's very crowded, and at the same time, बहुत जगह है ये industry में. तो please आओ. We're all waiting for you. But सोच के आना. I think it's not that time and age anymore कि कुछ भी करके डाल दिया, and put thought into it, put strategy into it, and it's a fantastic industry to be a part of.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Masoom. We really hope that you do all the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me. Hi, this is Masoom Meenawala, and you're watching me on Pink Villa.